Welcome to the C.L.I.M.B. This is a show dedicated to helping singers, songwriters, and indie artists like you create leverage in the music business. What is leverage? It's a strategic advantage, the power to act effectively, the power to persuade, because you have something that they need, that they want, at least that they think they need or that they think they want. And instead of having your hat in your hand and trying to convince them of your potential, you're actually rolling in there with a whole trailer full of reputation. That's what leverage is. That's why we called it the C.L.I.M.B, C.L.I.M.B, creating leverage in the music business. The genius that created that cooked that up, is my good friend and co-host, Mr. Brent Baxter. Brent is an award-winning hit songwriter with cuts by Alan Jackson, Randy Travis, Lady Antebellum, Joe Nichols, and more. And Brent also helps songwriters like you turn pro by revealing how you write like a pro, do business like a pro, and then he actually, on a regular basis, connects you with the pros so you can have a shot to learn, to up your game, and maybe even create a little relationship. You can find Brent at songwritingpro.com. Once again, that's songwritingpro.com.
And I would like to introduce you to my co-host, Johnny Dwinell. Johnny owns Daredevil Production. They help you find your sound, and they help you grow your audience so you can become the artist that everybody loves, and so you can get paid. Daredevil has worked with multi-platinum artists like Colin Ray, Tracy Lawrence, Ty Herndon, and Andy Griggs, just to name a few. You can find Johnny at daredevilproduction.com. That's production, singular, no S, and there's no S because there is no other Johnny D.
How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing just hunky-dory. It's getting to be frosty. By the time this airs, I might be in China.
Ooh,
life's
right.
good. And actually, I might be in a more tropical location when this airs.
Is it going to be warm over there? Like, what's the?
Yeah, and the second city we're going to, Guangzhou, where everybody that adopts goes through Guangzhou. It's more of a tropical, so we might be like 70s there.
Ooh, nice.
I'm not going to complain about at all. Yes.
Are you taking all the kids with you?
Heck no, we learned our lesson last time. We're splitting them up with the grandparents.
There you go.
Gotta keep the numbers manageable. We got like two over here, and a puppy.
Well, right on. Well, today we are going to talk about how an unknown artist got 400 strangers to a gig.
That's sexy.
Isn't that sexy?
It is. It is.
Ghost town strangers. We've touched on this before, but I'm going to dig down into the numbers and dig down into the strategies and dig down into the wake of the event and try to get some people thinking in the right direction here. But listen, before we do that, let's take care of a little business here. The C.L.I.M.B podcast is proud to partner with disc makers who have been supporting indie musicians before indie music was even a thing. And now it's becoming like the thing, right?
That's right.
So when you're ready to make DVDs, CDs, vinyl, which is what we're doing for like the Lonely Highway Boys, or you want to distribute your music and videos with customized USBs, discmakers.com, DISCmakers.com is the only place you need to go.
That's right. And while you're there, you can click on the Guides and Resources tab and download some of their excellent free guides. They've just revised and expanded their home studio handbook, which has a ton of great advice and information for newbies and studio veterans. And also under the Guides and Resources tab, you can also find the C.L.I.M.B podcast.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. You can find them online at www.discmakers.com, DISCmakers.com, or give them a call at 800-468-9353. That's 800-468-9353.
That's right. And hey, if you haven't joined the C.L.I.M.B community yet, please do so. Killer community. It's very active. Lots of people asking questions, giving shout outs, sharing their music, connecting with co-writers, sharing big wins. Like we've had a couple, like didn't we just have somebody get a cut? And
yeah, I think we've had some of that happening. We got some people releasing their first songs and just all kinds of good stuff climbing up that mountain. That's
right. That's absolutely right.
So we share those on Wednesday.
That's right. And
Wednesday. I'm in new heights.
But listen, just has to be let in. We let everybody in, and then just be good boys and girls, or we'll roadhouse you. Subscribe to the podcast. Make sure all the Tuesday full episodes and the Friday mini-sodes come right down into your device. in order. You can consume them whenever you want. And take 30 seconds, leave a 5-star rating and review so that other people that are thinking about checking us out can be persuaded to give it a shot, to feel like the juice is worth the squeeze.
That's right.
And then finally, the best compliment you can give Brent and I for all this work that we do here is to share it. Like tell people about it. Tell a friend, tell a fellow musician, tell a fellow songwriter. Put it on your social media. Let them know you learned something, and other people who respect you are going to maybe cop onto it. We can help them too, right?
That's right.
All right.
So I'm ready to hear about this. I know we've talked about it some on the podcast before. We've mentioned it here and there, but we're going to go deep this week.
We're going to go deep into this. So here's the situation. We're working with an artist who has since graduated from Daredevil Production onto a big management contract. He got a boatload of money, and
you made him sexy.
Yeah, and a touring schedule that's just nonstop. Like they're gonna wear that kid out, man. You know, 19 years old. He was with us for I guess better part of 2 years, and we developed him creatively. We developed him in the market for sure. And I mean, this is Jacob Cade is the artist's name. We had creatively, I mean, first of all, kid's like a knockdown, drag out rock guitar god. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not even kidding. Like this kid doesn't hit a sour note like in the leads. Like it's insane. And then
he's playing like behind his head, right?
Yeah, behind his head. He's running all over the place, jumping off of amps. Like he literally, there's this one iconic image that we have of him jumping off the head on a Marshall half stack. And then he does the Pete Townsend thing where he tucks up his knees under his chest, and everybody looks at that and just right off the bat, like it's a thumb stopper in Facebook. It's like, whoa, wait, what?
What the heck is that? Right.
It just looks like he's flying through the air. So anyway, we got him with Michael Wagner and produced a killer 5-song EP, and then we went to work marketing it. Now, the whole time that we were developing him creatively, we were still marketing. We're still building up his socials, trying to grow that audience, trying to make it look like a party's going on, because nothing attracts a crowd like a crowd, right?
That's right.
And the what happened here, we got the story is, now he's from Denver, Colorado, and we got the opportunity to do a one-off, which means like a one show only thing down in Scottsdale, Arizona at a club called BLK Live. And I think I've never been there, but I'm guessing the capacity of that club's probably maybe 800 to 1,000 people. So it's a decent sized club, and they host a lot of national acts. This particular offer we got was to open up for Dokken, which is an 80s band that sold about maybe 6-7 million records back in the day.
A lot of their name was on a lot of black T-shirts back in the day.
That's right. A lot of black T-shirts. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And but here's the deal. We had gone to radio with Jacob at the time that we got this offer. I think he was in the top 40 for active rock radio, but Scottsdale was not one of our markets. We weren't getting spins there. So he's a
not
ghost.
On the radio.
Not on the radio in Scottsdale. So they don't have any idea who this kid is.
Yeah, because he hadn't played there before, right?
Never. That's right.
Never played there, hadn't done spun there.
That's right. Then to add like sort of insult to injury, he's going to be opening for the opener, right? So he's going to go on at 8 o'clock, and then the support act's going to go on after him, and then the headliner.
Right.
So what does that tell you?
Nobody's supposed to see his show.
Nobody's going to be there, right? So they took the gig, and I said, let's try to take some of this content. And so there's several pieces of this puzzle that came together to make it work. First and foremost was we needed content, but the right kind of content to promote. Okay. So if you think about a lot of MTV videos or any music video from any artist, it's typically going to be like a story, kind of like a short little movie kind of thing, right? Or it's going to be a live performance kind of thing, where sometimes there's like a live performance where they're actually at a live show, but usually it's like, here's the stage setup, especially with the 80s bands, right? Like, here's the stage setup. This is what we're going on tour with, and this is what you're going to see, but it's just all the band, right?
Yeah.
doing there's actually not an audience there or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
So we as soon as we got the record done, we put him out on tour. And I'm telling you, like, it sounds glamorous, but the first tour was really beneficial. He did like a 30-day run with a band you've never heard of, but they, supposedly have an audience, right? Mm-hmm. But they really didn't. The numbers that were kind of promised to us were quite disappointing. I don't know if they were breaking new ground on this tour and breaking into a bunch of new markets. But we were thinking there's going to be 200 to 400 people at every show, and there was like 30 people at every show. Yeah. And so it was kind of brutal in that regard, but it was beneficial for the artist because it's the first time Jacob did it, right? So now all of a sudden he's on the road with the band. He's got another gig to get to the next night, and I don't care who you are. There's a transformation that happens when you can put that many shows together back to back, and you become, in your own mind, a real artist. Like, it's not a dream anymore.
You're doing it.
Not something. Yeah, we're actually doing this. This is crazy. I got nothing to do today but get my S together by tonight. And then remember all the stuff I'm pissed off about myself last night for not doing the way I wanted to do it. And
here's another chance to go at it again. Right.
Exactly. Another at bat. Right. Another opportunity. So
chance to get better.
Now Jacob's 18, maybe early 19 at this time. And so his mom was out with him, and God bless her. I don't know how she did that, but, but I told her, I said, look, you got to film everything, right? Like, get some GoPros. They're inexpensive cameras, guys. They're like $200 cameras, and you can get just an amazing amount of memory and killer 1080p HD video quality to use. I said, now I want you to film them, but don't film them like a mom would film them, like where you're front row in the front of the seat, front of the stage, and you're filming everything that he does. He's compelling to watch.
Yes.
Right? But he is not, but who cares? That on digital, there has to be a social proof factor to it. And so I said, just go from the side of the stage on the shot and get him doing his thing on sort of one half of the screen. On the other half of the screen, hopefully, going to have a packed house of people freaking out over what he's doing.
Right. And so you get the best of both worlds. You get the social proof and the artist doing their thing.
Exactly. Right. So this one little tweak sounds maybe painfully obvious to you, but a lot of people miss it. Right. A lot of people. This is something that's interesting because there's something clearly happening on my video screen on my device. Like, wait, what is that? Like, there's a huge crowd there.
There's a party going on. Yeah,
that's right. So during this tour, actually, we got a couple cool things in there, but most of the footage was bunk just because there wasn't an audience there. So I wouldn't use that because the audience was empty.
Looks like no one shows up. Right.
No one shows. Now you're proving that you don't have an audience, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to do that. So he did radio tour because, as I mentioned, we did go to radio. And so he's going around all the different stations. And we got the opportunity to do a show in Spokane, Washington, where that was probably our best market, I think. That's where we were getting the most spins. So he had an opening show. I don't remember who the act was that he opened up for, but the place that he played was packed, right? And we probably were responsible for maybe about 15 to 25% of the butts and seats because of the single and the amount of spins that we were getting in that market, right? Which would be completely different than another market where we weren't getting any spins, right? But so she did exactly what she was supposed to do. From the side of the stage, killer. I mean, everybody's like pushed up to the stage in this club, and we got some killer video of him doing his whole set that I could go in and cut up to create a promo video in front of a sea of faces. And then through a collective effort of, and by the way, it's amazing, Brent, how much momentum happens. Like, movement creates momentum, right? Yeah. Like when he just starts doing stuff, he starts recording, he starts, wanting to get out on tour. And all of a sudden we start running into like little serendipitous things. I found out from a guy that used to book shows for me in Los Angeles who called him and said, hey man, Steel Panther looking for an opening. They're not working with their opening band anymore. Steel Panther's like a huge 80s Lampoon metal act, for those of you who like a hair metal comedy show kind of a thing, but they're bigger than like Winger now, you know, I mean, they're huge, right? They're international band. They make a fortune doing this, right? But they have the kind of audience that we want to get our artist in front of. And so he's like, do you want me to see if we can try to get your boy Jacob opening up for them? And I'm like, absolutely. Oh my God, this would be amazing. So, so he sends a package. I sent him a promo package to him, and he sends it to the manager's secretary. And then our PR guy also knew who managed him. And so we went in, we talked about the guy that does the booking for the band from this management company, who actually all of a sudden the mom's like, wait, I know that name. Why do I know this guy's name? She goes through her email. She's like, here it is. He's already seen Jacob because we did this opening show for Winger. So I can't remember what it was, but he saw Jacob and emailed her, felt compelled to email her and say, wow, your son's amazing. Like, I just really enjoyed the show, whatever. And so now we've already got a connection there. He's already seen him. So we went through this back door and the side door before he went through the front door with the manager to try to get the gig. We get the gig, opening up for Steel Panther in Denver, which they sold out like the Fillmore, 3,500 seats. So again, now I flew up for that show, but Mom's side stage, getting the shots that I want her to get. I'm out in the audience, getting the shots from the back of the audience, looking at the artist up on the stage. Again, a sea of people, right? So this is the content, guys, that we put together. Now, the plan was Facebook advertising, which is extremely powerful, okay, and extremely targeted. And I told the mom, so now,
not extremely expensive.
And not extremely expensive. That's right. And so I said, you know, we're going down to Scottsdale. We're opening up for Doc, and we got to go on at 8:00. Nobody's going to be there. We're not getting any spins. Let's take this Facebook thing out for a walk and see if we got some content that's going to make a difference. So she granted me a $200 budget, not too much money, right? I took the footage from those two shows that I just described to you and cut up a 1-minute video where, 15 seconds into the video, 25% of the video, a slide shows up saying the name of the show, this is what's going on, come early, right? And the concept for the video was simply, I wasn't trying to sell tickets. The tickets were $60. I was just trying to target as people the best I could to that probably already bought a ticket to go see the show and convince them, hey, look it, like you already got the ticket, show up early. Like, don't miss this kid, right? Yeah. This is, why not, So we put the video together, and it starts out with, hey, Scottsdale. So right off the bat, that's a thumb stopper.
Like, but relevant.
It's relevant and personal to people in Scottsdale. Now, we targeted a 50-mile radius of the club, which you can do on Facebook. We created a custom audience where it was fans of Dokken, the band, fans of the lead singer, Don Dokken, because that was another category that I could tack on, fans of, and I try to think of some different 80s bands. So we did Metallica, Poison, Guns N' Roses, Slash, and actually 80s hair bands is a target that's built into Facebook, right? So it's going to target people in a 50-mile radius that have shown interest in any one of those things, okay? And we put together a video, a 1-minute video, like I said, and we paid $200 to push that out the week before the show. And the numbers that we got, so the benchmark for Facebook advertising is, one of the benchmarks is like, how much does it cost for a 10-second view? And for the most part, I think we clocked in about 2.6 cents for a 10-second view. So for that money, for $200, the exact spend was $202 and change. Hold on, I'll give you the exact number: $202.37. There it is. So 1,054 people saw the video 25% of the way through, which got them to the card, right?
Got them to the Hey Scottsdale.
Got them to the card where it says BLK Live, opening up for Dokken.
So they saw the Hey Scottsdale, and then they also saw the show card.
Exactly. So it starts out with the footage of him in front of one of those large audiences, right? Like, Hey Scottsdale.
So that's right off the bat.
Right off the bat. And then we didn't use the audio from the video. We just used the video, the imagery. And I synced it to the single we got out, right? So it's the killer track that Michael Wagner produced with that visual going on. And then and I did this, by the way, I did this in iMovie, right? I didn't use sophisticated software. And just Hey Scottsdale. And I'm going to put a link, by the way, in the show notes here, so you guys can click to a page and you can actually see the video that we used. But you can check it out. It's like super cool. But it's like, hey, if you got Dokken tickets, come early. And you see the kid, there's some really incredible images that we have of him, including that one iconic image I told you about where it just looks really incredible. And one of the things I did again, I'm thinking from a perspective of what's in it for them, right? Like, why would they care about this? They don't know him. So what's going to make them interested? So again, the live shots with the crowd freaking out over him, number one. And then before the Steel Panther show, I told you I went to that show in Scottsdale. I went outside, and before the doors open, and there's a line of people like down 2 blocks, right? Like 3,000 people ready to get into the show. Yeah. And I just took the camera. I did it on my iPhone, and I just slowly walked past everybody recording. And it was like a 2-minute video. It took me 90 seconds to 120 seconds to get to the end of the line. Yeah. And now you do that and you speed it up, and you fast motion in your video thing. It looks really freaking cool, man. It's like, oh, look at all these freaking people. Like, they don't know they're there to see Steel Panther. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they didn't know that they were there to see the people standing in line. Didn't know they were there to see Jacob too. They were about to get their minds blown, right? So not lying, but right.
They were in line at his show.
But so we spent this money, we put that video together, and you want to try to create a thumb stopper. You want to, because think about how you consume Facebook on your device. You just zip, 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 zip with your finger, and then, oh, what's that? And then you go back, Hey Scottsdale, that's me. You click on it, and then keep in mind, like, it's only going to be in your feed if you're a fan of Dokken, if you're a fan of Don Dokken, if you're in a 50-mile radius of the club, right? But so we've got. Let's see. So 2,020 people saw the video for 10 seconds. 1,054 people saw it 25% of the way through. 490 people saw it 50% of the way through. 262 people saw it 75% of the way through. And 155 people saw it completely through. So we go and we do the show, and 400 people show up to see this kid play.
So more people than even saw the video all the way through, because only 155 people saw it all the way through, but 400 people showed up.
That's right.
But 400 people showed up. What the hey?
Crazy, right? Now maybe they had a bunch of friends that were coming with them. I mean, how many is it? Was it 155 people who just bought a ticket for themselves? You know what I mean? And they're only planning on going alone, like 155 loners, or is there probably a bunch of people, that they're going with, or a buddy at least? Right? That you're going to go see the show with. So, and then, word spreads, and this is what happens. So
that was even more bang for your buck.
Exactly. And so here's what happens. So first of all, they're prepared. They've got merch. They set up a merch table. Jacob is on the stage and knows exactly what to say. Right? Like before the last song, hey, I'm Jacob Cade. Thanks for hanging out. If you want to get to know me, I'd love to get to know you. I'm going to be right over there by that table. Come over and say hello, And the way he serves that up is it feels like it's their decision. Yeah. But he's planting the seed, right? Yeah. Selling it from the stage. And of course, he does his thing and blows everybody's mind. Right? Then he's bombarded over at the merch table. They sell $200 worth of merch, which completely
there goes your investment right back.
Yeah, I'll set the ad buy, right? Yeah. And then afterwards, the club owner comes out and he's freaking out. Like, and he knows exactly what's going on, right? He's no dummy.
Yeah.
He knows the traffic habits of his crowd.
Mm-hmm.
So he's impressed that 400 people showed up at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And he also knows that kid's never been to Scottsdale.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, how did you do that? Like, what is going on here? I want to know. And offered him a gig to come back like later that summer, which was really cool, right?
Yeah, heck yeah.
Now, I heard that story like immediately after the show. I got a text or something. I can't remember how I found out about it, but I was like, wow, okay, mission accomplished. Like, we did our job. But then the PR guy, who was the one with the connection to Dokken and set up the gig, gets a call from the manager, from the headliner's manager, from Dokken's manager.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you want the rest of the tour? Because now, why did he do that?
Well, I'm sure it's based purely on artistic merit and not any
because he thought he was amazing, right? Yeah.
He's just a pure fan. I'm sure it had nothing to do with somehow going to affect their own bottom line in a positive way as far as they're concerned. But go ahead, you correct me if I'm wrong.
Exactly. Well, I mean, 400 people show up to see your opener, and they're thinking there's something happening. He's putting butts in seats.
Yeah,
I'll bet you they
fans that are showing up to see him because people don't show up that early.
That's right. And then what's the first thing they're probably going to do is like, who's this kid, Jacob K? They're going to go check him out on social media, right?
Yeah.
And I think at that time we might have had like 9,000 or 10,000 followers for him because we had been just grinding day by day by day, getting as many followers as we could. Following people, they're following us back. We're just grinding away to try to build that audience, putting up cool content that's not just about the artist, that's relevant and personal to them. And it all comes together. And so they literally thought we put butts in seats. Now, I can't imagine that we sold $60 tickets for that. Maybe we sold a couple, but it wasn't 400.
Right, yeah.
We just got people who come out early, but they don't know that.
Yeah.
They can't comprehend that. You know what I'm saying?
Like, it's not the way it works.
It's not the way it
has traditionally worked.
So think about the benefits of that, right? Being able to, so first of all, we couldn't take the dates on the tour because, reality of the music world, they were fly dates. So as the opener, that becomes really cost prohibitive to have to jet from one part of the country to the other part of the country for one show, right? When you're not getting paid for that. So that wasn't going to work. We would have taken it.
That's a good problem to have.
Yes, that's right.
To go,
we would have taken it if
it was a Dokken tour.
Right? Like, or even done a bunch of shows, like if they were more like on a run, right? Like up a couple states or whatever. We could have done that. But so we just couldn't, we didn't do that. But he got the invite and we didn't have to pay to get on that tour.
Yeah.
Right? Like all of a sudden we got the invite now to go out because they think we're helping them.
Heck yeah.
And that's the way they don't like people. You got to understand, this is the advantage that you have right now. If you're listening to my voice, is the more that you play around with this and flirt and try to get something happening for yourself in this realm, you can't imagine how easy it is to get some opportunities like this because most of the industry loves to talk about how it's all about social media, but look at the feeds, even from the major label artists. They don't understand the digital platform at all.
Right.
Right? It looks like the obnoxious person you met at a party who just can't stop talking about themselves. Like every post, look at me, 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 look at me. There's nothing for me unless you're personal and relevant to me because I know you're famous. There's nothing for me to be, there's no reason for me to be here.
Right. If I'm already a huge fan, I do want to know what you're up to every minute of the day.
Right.
That's relevant, but that's not going to get me into fandom.
Right. And so we need to get into growth, and that's a good content strategy. So all this work sort of comes together on this one thing. But, I was telling Rick Barker about this, who's Taylor Swift's former manager. And he said, Johnny, he said, we had, and this is a mind blow, but he's like, we had a platinum record on Taylor Swift on her first record. We went platinum before she ever went top 40 on the radio.
Wow.
And that was astounding, right? Because normally it's the other way around. The radio pushes the record sales because people hear it. And consequently, if you remember the story of, and I'm pretty sure this is accurate, of Taylor Swift, in order to be on the CMAs, guys, what's the CMAs designed to do?
Give you what you already know. probably give
Well,
you
why does the show
biggest
exist for the network?
ratings.
Right. And ratings mean,
People are watching.
and that
ratings,
means
money, ad revenue.
ad money, right? Yeah. It's designed to sell ads. So they're not there to promote country music.
No.
They're there to sell ads. And by the way, that not for nothing, that's the Oscars, that's the Grammys, that's the American Music Awards, that's the Golden Globes. They are designed to sell ad space.
Right. They wouldn't air. You can still hold it, but we're not bringing cameras unless something's in it for us.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can't get on the CMAs. I don't care how good you are. You're not going to get on there on a feature thing unless you've got enough certain amount of records sold, right? Unless you're certain amount of popularity. And Taylor had just glazed over the minimum requirement to get on there, right? So and then that was a pivotal moment for her because of the Tim McGraw thing. Like I think, if you know the story, they told her she wouldn't be able to perform in the CMAs with her band. That was her dream. Okay. She's like 15 at this time, I think 15 years old or 16.
Like that, yeah.
And they get to the show and Taylor's in the hotel. Rick's at the show and the show producer says, "You're cut." She was at the bottom of the totem pole. They're like, "You're cut. We're running long. We got enough performances. Sorry. Thanks. Maybe next year."
Yeah.
And Rick's like, "What? You got to be kidding me. What the hell am I going to tell her? Like, she's going to stab me." Like I've been telling her what she needs to do all year long. And she's been doing exactly what I told her to do. And this is what we wanted to come for. And now, and the producer's like, "Look, I'm sorry." And got snappy with them and said, "I don't need any more performances. I need a moment." And Rick's like, "I got your moment." So he has to go back and tell Taylor, "Hey, you're not going to play." She has a meltdown, of course. And so, right? I mean, she busted her butt. And now that's when the whole Tim McGraw singing Tim McGraw to Tim McGraw thing happened, which made her a star that night. Because that's all anybody was talking about the next day on the water coolers.
Yeah.
But how did she get there? She had to sell a certain amount of records. How did she sell a certain amount of records if she wasn't top 40 on the radio? Right? So same kind of a thing. They didn't do it with Facebook advertising. What she did was spend a bunch of time with one of our former guest interviews on the podcast, Tom Jackson. And Tom, when he was done with her merch sales went up 600%. So because of the relationships that Bruschetta has, and he gets a couple favors called in at the dawn of her career, and one of them was Brad Paisley. So take her out. So whatever, they agree to a small run. Okay. And then she goes out, but because she's doing so well from the stage.
Selling merch, you mean? Selling
merch. She sells merch. They were doing $12,500 a night of merch.
Nice.
So if you talk to Rick, I don't think he thinks that they were putting that many butts in seats as Taylor Swift. Her brand wasn't that big yet, right?
Yeah.
So they were selling Brad Paisley's people.
Taylor Swift merchandise.
They
weren't bringing in Taylor Swift fans. They were creating them at the show.
Exactly. And there's the key. But because of the merch sales, the management's scratching their head going, she must be putting butts in seats.
She must be bringing all these people in.
So you know what? You want to stay on the tour longer? And that's what, so she got runs, like Rick will tell you, like we got way more dates opening for big artists like that than we ever should have gotten where we were, even though we were a major label act, where we were in that, technically she was indie, but still major
whatever.
Label but still we got way more love than we should have gotten because of the merch sales. And that's what, to them, that meant she was putting butts in seats. So she got a lot more love, got in front of a lot more people. The art and the artist got in front of more eyeballs. She sold the records and bada boom, bada bang. Then she's on the CMAs. That launched her into stardom. And the rest is history. But you can do the same thing through Facebook.
She was creating leverage in the music business, Johnny.
We should start a podcast.
We could tell stories like this.
Yeah.
And help people.
People would want to know.
Nah.
Now, just so you don't think this is a fluke, this is one that I know I have the numbers on because it was just such a weird situation where, number one, it was a ghost town, and number two, he was in front of the opener, and so it was stark. It was apparent they were there to see him. right? They weren't
right. Yeah.
But he got the opportunity to do a Planet Axe tour, which is like 3 sort of gunslingers that are independent. Like I think Alice Cooper's guitar player's got his own project, and like another dude, like 2 other guys. I didn't even know who they were, but they're great guitar players. And so they're sort of like, it's sort of like a G3 thing, but for the clubs, right? And Jacob got to be the opening for that. Like, so he's, again, first act. And we did 4 dates. And I want to say this because it doesn't come without setbacks, right? We did it 3 more times in a row in Moline, some other town in Illinois, like boom, boom, boom in the Midwest, Des Moines, I think, and then Menasha, Wisconsin, total bust. Right? And so people were lining up to see Jacob Cade. They were getting...
So the first 3 shows were good or
awesome.
Not good?
Yeah, awesome.
Okay.
Like I didn't have, because every single artist on that tour wasn't like an opener. They were like all featured as part of the tour. That's why it's kind of skewed. Like I don't know exactly how many people showed up to see him, but I would call him after every show and I'm like, how'd it go? He's like, dude, people are coming up to me. We're selling merch. They want to know my name. These are smaller shows too. So these clubs are like maybe 250 seaters as opposed to Dokken, which is like 1,000, at BOK Live. So the merch sales weren't $200, but he's selling $50 in merch a night, at these little clubs, and people knew who he was, and even before he would go on. So again, we're taking advantage of branding, getting inside the mind of the consumer. That's targeting that consumer. That's and doing it digitally and doing it for just a little bit of money, right? And then if you're able to go, so why aren't you doing this in your hometown? Right? Why aren't you doing this in your hometown? Why aren't you taking the love that you have of your normal audience and trying to expand on that? And taking a 50-mile radius of your hometown. If you have the opportunity to get that one lucky gig where you're opening for somebody, man, get the footage. Right?
That's what I was going to say. Is that it wasn't like Jacob had been on tour opening for all these people, have in front of all these big crowds that you could just take these photos. He had like 2. Right. He's been on the road getting his chops up. He knows what he's doing. He puts on a good show. But then there were only really 2 shows that were really filmable. Yeah. That you got all that promo stuff from 2 shows.
Out of probably 35 or 40 shows. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't need to string a bunch of these together. You get 1 or 2.
Get 1 or 2, man.
In front of the right people.
Have all hands on deck, right? Like, okay, everybody, if you love me as an artist and you believe in me, you will make space on your phone right now. You're there, and you're over here, and film the whole show, right? Yeah. And then get that footage and keep it in your computer and be able to put it together and do something with it. Now, the happy ending is the company that promoted the Planet Axe tour that worked with all those guitar players is the one that came and paid Jacob a bunch of money to come over to them, and that ended our relationship like in the best way possible, right? Because they handle all their own social media. They're self-contained. They're not going to go outside for that. But I mean, he got like a chunk of change and endless tour dates now. Because why? Like out of 40 dates that he did, right, that he paid for, but because what we were doing on those 3 dates, like they saw it, it didn't go unnoticed.
Yeah.
There was a guy from that company on those dates there managing there's somebody watching the mice, right? The cat's there watching the mice. Like, you never know what's going to happen in a rock and roll show, but that turned into the next step up the ladder for him. And this is only 4 shows that were freaking marketed on Facebook advertising. Yeah. I mean, what? Come on, like, so if you don't have the packed shows, if you haven't, if you don't get that opportunity, go get it, right? Like when we first started working with Jacob, one of the first things I did was he had what you would consider a halfway decent following in Denver. I mean, probably about 200 people regularly go out and see him, but they were playing too much, Yeah. And it was just for him. And so but what did he have from that? Instead of what we don't have, what do we have? We have relationships with the club owners. And which one of these clubs does national acts? Oh, these 3 clubs here that we play, they do national acts. Okay, so I call them, hey, we're gonna stop booking them here. But I want to, Jacob, we love Jacob. He's great. Yeah, okay. Can you help us out? Like, if there's a support act needed for a national act, put them on. Yeah. And so we did that. And over the course of the next year, it changed the mind of the consumer because all they only saw was just associating him with a national act.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
He's
sometimes
better class a loser. Yeah.
That's right. That's the deal, right? It's just perception of it all. And of course, typically this didn't always happen, but I mean, generally speaking, it's going to get better lights, better sound, right? It's going to be it's going to be some stuff happening there. So guys, this is stuff that you can do.
I do have a question though, before we get into that. You mentioned that fourth show where things went sideways. Is there a lesson there, or is a lesson there that just, hey, sometimes crap happens?
Yeah. So on the fourth show, like nothing. There's like 20 people showed up. I mean, it was ghost town, right? And who knows why? I don't know why. I don't know what happened. I don't know if we were competing against something. It was definitely an odd venue. It was like some kind of Mexican restaurant or something like that. That had like a stage, and so it could have been like a bad choice of venue that nobody just in that market would think this is where we're going to go see a rock and roll show. So it didn't equate for them. But we did all the same marketing that we did for Jacob. I know that the management company did all the same marketing that they did for the rest of the tour, but nothing happened that night. So so sometimes, hey, you got to be willing to do this a number of different times to try to get your traction on it, guys. You know, you might hit an anomaly. You might hit something that just doesn't fly, right? That just isn't working right.
And if that happens to be on your first show, don't quit.
That's the point. Yeah. You know, after 10 shows of doing that, you're going to find out, you know, if you're 10 losers in a row, you got to change something. Like your content's not good. You're not targeting very well. But man, what a powerful tool, and what an inexpensive way to do that. And if you're smart and you do it in your marketplace and you don't oversaturate the marketplace, okay, then you can build up your money.
Man, okay, I'm just thinking here. I know we're going long, but okay, so we're talking 4 shows. You spent that ad buy. I don't know how much you spent. Maybe
$200 a show.
$200 a show, so $800.
Yeah.
And it got him upstreamed to someone who's got him on the road all the time.
Yeah.
Well, Johnny, what if I just spend that $800 on a music video? Or on radio tour, and
or recording a new song.
I'm gonna do radio promotion or my new song.
Yeah.
And then I'll get upstreamed and have shows out the wazoo. I mean, you're talking about the amazing bang for the buck. One, Jacob, awesome artist.
Yeah, killer.
He's got the goods, right?
Yeah.
If you suck, this is, sorry, limited, you know.
Yeah, we're talking to the people here who are competitive.
Right, and compelling. Okay?
Yeah.
So, and he is. I mean, you're talking about that. What an incredible return on that investment. Of course, you already made it back like in merch most of the time anyway. You know, so you really didn't spend it.
You know,
that's just amazing, the bang for the buck for that.
And so effort, time, and money put towards marketing, not, oh, well, this song didn't work. Nobody heard about it. Let's record another one. And nobody can hear that too. You know,
right? Yeah.
Like you've got to get it out there. So, for those of you who want to, I mean, this is just a real grassroots way that we were able to create some momentum. It didn't take $1 million. You know, this is totally doable. You know, you could sell a guitar and come up with enough marketing money to take a chance, right?
Yeah.
I mean, scary, but you know, figure that out. You know, learn how to do that. I'm not talking about boosting. I'm talking about going into Facebook ad in the business. In the back end of the business there in the Facebook ads and setting it up that way. But go back and play around with it. Go see what happens. You can spend $10 and try something. It could be anything. Just play with it, learn it, and use it for yourself. But anyway, that's all I have to say about that, guys. I have a killer download for if it's called the 21 Biggest Marketing Mistakes that Indie Artists Make, and that's at giftfromjohnny.com, GIFTFORJOHNNY, giftfromjohnny.com. Just go there, tell me where to send it. And also, if this is the kind of stuff that we cook up for our artists, this gets our artists noticed. It's the stuff that, some of the stuff we've cooked up, we've created over 20 opportunities for through making our artists discoverable, we've created over 20 opportunities for national television shows, 3 of which got on there. Mm-hmm. We've just closed the deal on a $250,000 investor because of the work that we did with one of our artists. So investors come with that when you're focusing on the marketing. It's not going to be the art, like make sure the art is good, make sure it's competitive, but then at some point you've got to sell it, But hey, if we can help you with this, give us a call. Reach out at info@daredevilproduction.com and set up a consultation. I mean, I can kind of work with you on some different strategies that you can do. And certainly, if you're a compelling artist and you've got a little bit of a budget, if we can work together, it'd be great too. We'd love to, we're always looking for new artists and to expand our horizons and get somebody to play in the sandbox with us because it makes us look better,
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, that brings us to the end of another Killer C.L.I.M.B episode. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast to get all your episodes. Join the C.L.I.M B community if you haven't done so on Facebook already. Just search for C.L.I.M B community. Ask to be let in. We let everybody in. Leave a 5-star rating and review, pretty please. And finally, share it. Tell somebody about it. If you're learning something here, if you're getting creative, if it's helping you, then spread the word around so we can help some other people too. This podcast exists because we want you to win, so keep on climbing.
And we'll see you at the top.